Well, guys, it's Friday, so you know what that means. It's Par 5 Friday. Let's get to it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Knockstiff Golf. I'm Kyle, and I just so happen to be a golf addict that lives in Anchorage, Alaska. When I'm not out on the course playing golf, you're going to find me on here talking about it. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to press subscribe down below so you can be notified for every new video that I put out. And also down below, you're going to find some Amazon affiliate links. If you click those, it's going to provide a little bit of a bump for me while at no extra cost to you. So check them out. So if you've never seen a Par 5 Friday before, it's 5 golf-related things that I happen to find interesting or cool this week. This week, we all know that we have the Players' Championship going on. So 2 things have happened that I found pretty cool or interesting. The first up is Ryan Moore. Ryan Moore is one of my favorite golfers out there right now. I love what he does with True Links. I love his style. I love his mannerisms out on the course, and he's got a pretty sweet swing as well. Well, without showing it, because I'm not sure I can put it on here without the video getting deleted, he just made a hole-in-one at the 17th hole at TPC Sawgrass. Yes, the famous Island Green. He slam dunks it from, I think it was 125. So as most of us know, this hole is rather famous for people putting it in the water, sometimes several times on their tee shot. For him to ace it is quite the accomplishment, and it's very exciting as it goes into the weekend. Seeing a tournament come down to 17, it can change the whole tournament just by one bad short iron. So nobody had aced this hole in 14 years until 2016 when Willie Wilcox aced it, with Sergio Garcia acing it the next year in 2017. So now, Ryan Moore becomes the 9th guy to ace this hole in 2019. So needless to say, I don't know if we're ever going to see another 14-year drought on this hole. So number 2 on the list is going to be an interesting situation that happened on the 18th green. So according to Riggs from Barstool, play has been suspended due to darkness at the Players with 1 player left on the course. And his name is Anirban Lahiri, and I'm probably butchered that name, but whatever. He has 3 feet 11 inches left for par at the 18th hole. He has to come back tomorrow morning to hit a 4-footer. This is one of the wildest things I've ever heard. So if you remember a couple weeks ago back at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, you had Phil Mickelson and Paul Casey coming down Sunday afternoon down to the wire with darkness creeping up on them. Granted, it was a Pro-Am, so they're playing with amateur players as well. Darkness was creeping up, and the officials came out to notify them that they were going to sound the siren for everybody to get off the course and basically call the round for the rest of the day. Phil decided, I can see just fine. I'm more than happy to play 18 because he was playing super hot. Most of those guys would love to just wrap up the tournament and hop on their private jets and head home. Paul Casey decided that he couldn't see very well. And there's speculation that he was doing this for his amateur partner as well because he was in the running for winning. He decided to make the call that it was too dark and they would come back in the morning to finish. Now, from my understanding, it's up to the players to decide if they can continue in the dark or not. It's not up to the officials. And I could be wrong about this, but just from the comments underneath this tweet, it seems to back me up in the sense that the players have the option to finish the hole they've started before they call for darkness. If you can imagine this, you have a 3-footer left, a knee knocker perhaps, on 18, and you decide to come back the next day to play this. That's your first shot of the day, is going to be a 3-foot putt. I've never been a PGA player. I'm sure this guy had every reason. He's probably, I don't know what his score is at the moment. Every shot really does count on the PGA Tour. That could be the difference between hundreds of thousands of dollars, making a cut to getting $0. There's all sorts of kind of scenarios that could play out with a missed 3-footer. I can't say that I blame the guy for wanting to come back fresh the next morning to finish the round. At the same time, I don't want to go to bed that night and then think about it in the morning that I have a 3-footer I need to make because I delayed it. So I'll do some fact checking in the morning to see what happened with that, but that's an interesting scenario you don't typically hear about. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is number 3, and this is kind of an odd one, and I just feel like I've passed this on to a few people, and it's worth knowing about, even though there's a couple alternatives. Is one thing that I always hear from people that like to go on golf trips or get new gear, whatever it may be, is I can never seem to have the money to go on golf trips, or I can never afford that new club, I can never do this because of lack of money. Now, I completely understand that golf can be expensive and traveling for golf can be very expensive. But one thing I started doing I'd say probably about 5 years ago, could be longer, is I got the app Acorns. Now, this isn't a sponsored post by them at all or anything. It's something that I use daily, realistically. So what Acorns is an investment app. Now what it does is you link your credit card to it so that it rounds up each purchase. So let's say you go buy a coffee for $2.50. It will round that purchase up to $3 and dump that 50 cents into an investment account. Now you can choose what kind of style you want to invest. If you want an aggressive, conservative, moderate, whatever you want, you will basically be exposed to the market with this account. So what I've done is, I think it's every Friday I invest $5, including all the roundups that I do when I use my credit card. So if I go buy groceries, rounds up that purchase to the nearest dollar, and takes that change and invests it in my investment account. This has actually paid for most of my golf trips over the past few years. I've been able to usually put away enough to at least cover airfare, hotels, and golf, not always food and drink with it. It's a super valuable thing to get when I have a golf trip coming up in May in Wisconsin, and I just checked my Acorns account already, and I have almost enough saved up to cover all the golf and lodging. I just need to kind of save up for a couple more months, and I won't feel this trip like I normally would if I was just going to pay for it out of pocket. Now, I understand this won't be everybody's forte, but it's important to put away money little by little because you won't notice it as it's going away into the investment account, and you're not losing the money, you're actually potentially earning interest on it, so it may be more money than you've actually put aside. So I just encourage everybody to go check out Acorns or a similar account and start saving little by little, because it's much easier when a new driver, new clubs, new trip comes up when you already have a few $100 saved up and you can use it towards that without the wife knowing about it. So this brings us to number 4. Number 4 is something that a lot of people were talking about a couple weeks ago, and it's something that really touched my heart. A lot of times I wouldn't consider myself a very emotional person, but this video I watched was maybe the most well done golf video I've seen in maybe ever. So Erik Anders Lang, which we're all familiar with Scratch TV and Adventures in Golf, has been doing basically a Scotland tour, an unofficial guide to Scotland. So he's over there, and the title of the video is "We Surprised Stuart Twice at the Old Course, St. Andrews, Scotland, Episode 8. Stuart is one of the guys that helps him out on his travels as a photographer. He's there with usually Colt, and the three of them kind of travel around and play these courses, document it, and they make videos about it. And in this one, they had Christian Hafer with them as well, and that's that Hafe_life. They filmed it beautifully in the sense that Stuart didn't know that two things were going to happen that day. And the first thing that happened was they notified him that he was actually going to get to play the old course. It didn't sound like he was going to get to play it. And so they surprised him with that. I mean, just the look of joy on his face and excitement and the nerves of getting to play such a classic, legendary course, maybe the most famous course in the world, would just be overwhelming just with that surprise as it is. And you can't help but watch it and feel excited for him and almost jealous, because that's like an ultimate place that you'd want to go with your friends or family and play one day. And it's certainly on my bucket list. I think the most touching part was the second part. So when he is walking towards the first tee, he crosses through what looks to be like a caddy shack of some sort, maybe a starter shack. I'm not super familiar with what that building was, but he walks around the corner, and the second surprise was his dad was there. Now, I don't know the whole dynamics of where his dad lives or why it was such a surprise, but the emotional reaction they had to seeing each other, knowing that they were about to play St. Andrews together, was something that it would almost bring a tear to most people's eye. It was heartwarming to watch their hug and their embrace and their jabbing at each other for being there, and the smiles. And it's one of those things where you look at that and you think, I want that experience. I want to share that with my family and my friends. And it just really was heartwarming to see that golf is such a powerful game that him and his dad are going to go out on a plot of grass and hit a ball around, and to show that how much more meaningful golf is than just whacking a ball out in a field. And I just really wish everybody could watch that and just see those moments, and I'll put a link down below because I think it's worth watching at least once. And whoever edited it did a great job, and all of their stuff has been great lately. So that brings us to number 5. So this is something, I don't know why I'm really telling you, but maybe it's something that can inspire you to an extent of what you could do as well. I see Seamus Golf, and they made a post today about their hiring for a new position. Now, currently I have a job, and currently I live in Alaska. They're located in Oregon, and this is a job at their main place in Beaverton. Now, I'm going to apply only because I love golf. A lot of us love golf, and I think it's one of those situations where I'm not afraid to move out of Alaska. That is probably my goal one day, so that I can be in a more, so I can be around golf full time and all year round. Now, I'm telling you this because this is another one of those examples of something where there's very low probability. Basically because it would require me to uproot the family and move to Oregon, which has been a discussion for a while now. Now, even though it's a long shot, it's kind of like the whole joke about Michael Scott saying you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Wayne Gretzky, in quotations, Michael Scott. So far with my golf adventures of starting this channel, it's required me to take some of these kind of long shots and see what happens. They very rarely pay off, but if you don't do them, you have a 0% chance of them paying off. I've tried to get in the habit of even if there's something that doesn't feel like it could happen, you still need to try it. You still need to at least put in the effort and see what could come of it. Now, maybe I won't land this job. That's completely okay. I'm not in a situation where I need it. But if I can get on their radar and perhaps I do move to Oregon one day, I'll already have my foot in the door in the sense that they'll have my resume, I've been in front of their eyes at some point or another, and it shows them that I've been thinking about them for employment for a while because I'll have applied once and I'll apply again at a later date. Really, I want you to think about this in more of a broad sense with golf, with content, with life. We're all faced with these kind of long shot situations, and a lot of times we just don't think it's worth it to do because it's such a long shot. But I think every once in a while you need to kind of commit to it and try it. We basically all do it on Instagram anyway with a lot of these kind of giveaways. We know the chances are so slim, but we still tag your friends and follow pages all because we want what they're offering. Even if it's a simple hat or a sleeve of balls, we're willing to take that long shot because there's zero downside. It's the same with situations like this. There's no downside that could really come of it, but the upside is almost infinite. And so I encourage you in your life, just take some of those situations that you normally wouldn't do because you feel like they're so unlikely to happen, and just try it. Just do it and then see what comes of it. If it's nothing, you didn't lose anything, and if something comes of it, I told you so. All right, guys, well, thank you again for tuning in for another Par 5 Friday. As always, please subscribe down below, like, comment, let me know how you like the Par 5 Fridays going so far. Let me know if there's any kind of content that you'd like to see, and I'd be more than happy to make some for you. As always, guys, I'll see you next time. All right, bye.